Welcome to episode 28, I think. Pretty sure, yeah, that's right. Episode 28 of the Other Star franchise, the anti-fascist Star Wars podcast, where a couple of Trekkies from the Star Trek fandom discuss Star Wars. We are currently watching a lot of the Star Wars shows, movies, and animation in chronological order, leading up to the release of the Mandalorian and Grogu movie later this month on May 22nd. But right now is a big day in the Star Wars fandom. I guess you would say the biggest, with May the 4th.
Yeah.
Although there's some people who are like, May the 4th, that's like some dumb pun. That's like I celebrate Star Wars every day.
Or not to mention May the Sith be with you. That's also one. But today's the big one.
Yeah.
May the 4th.
But we have chosen today to celebrate by watching and streaming about each movie in the original Star Wars trilogy. So they happen to be my favorite 3 pieces of Star Wars media ever made. Especially the first one, which we're going to talk about now. But if you are watching a video format of our podcast, you should be able to see on screen right now the spreadsheet that we use to document our Star Wars journey. We've tracked all the shows and movies we've watched in chronological order by the in-universe years in the Star Wars universe. I guess we started way back with the Acolyte in, what was that, 132 BBY, and spent a lot of time in the Clone Wars and 22 BBY to 19 BBY. But we finally got out of that war and then watched a lot of Bad Batch, watched a lot of Obi-Wan Kenobi, the show, watched a lot of Andor, the show, watched a lot of Star Wars Rebels, our favorite Star Wars animated show, all leading up to the big, I guess, 0 BBY, or are we 0 ABY right now? I guess 0 ABY is what Wikipedia called it, but the year, not just the year, the moment, the day, the exact time and place of the Battle of Yavin, of the destruction of the Death Star, the defeat of Grand Moff Tarkin, the first big victory. Well, I guess the first big victory of the Rebel Alliance was stealing the plans at Scarif. But that they only did that victory to do this victory. So,
right.
You know, Luthen did not give his life to steal plans. He gave his life to take down the Death Star. And that's what we're going to be talking about now. But yeah, Taylor, let me ask you, just right off the bat, we made a big deal yesterday about finishing Andor and watching Rogue One, and then we're going straight into the original trilogy today on May the 4th. But I can probably also take the spreadsheet off screen. People can look at us for today, for May the 4th to celebrate. But how does this movie hit different now in like a post-Andor world?
I think it makes Luke's contributions minimal.
Really?
Yeah.
But no one else could get they needed a Force-sensitive pilot to get the torpedoes in there at the end.
He just had to do one thing. Good job.
I was like the kicker on a football team.
Well, I guess
the kicker
he
on a
also
football
did...
team. No, slow down. The kicker on a football team only has to do one thing, right? But like when you can I can just score 3 points instantly to win us the game. Like that's kind of a big fucking deal.
Sure. He also did rescue Leia, so we'll give him that. He rescued the plans for the Death Star.
To me, that
delivered
seems...
those to Yavin.
I don't know.
Like the final stretch. Han, Luke, and Leia did the final stretch, and Chewie, of the Rogue One mission. So they delivered the plans to Yavin.
But to recap the movie, I guess we should, instead of reading like a summary off of Wikipedia, sorry, I'm trying to type and talk at the same time, which I'm terrible at. But instead of reading a summary off of Wikipedia, I think, Taylor, you should just read the opening crawl. You were saying how this is the best opening crawl of any Star Wars movie.
I do think it's the best of the opening crawls.
And I should also say that in this house, we watch the despecialized edition of the original trilogy. So that's the version of the movies that live in my heart. We watched what actually came out in 1977, even though neither of us was alive there. I watched the VHS copy in the 80s and 90s. But Taylor, tell us the original, the OG, the first ever Star Wars opening crawl. What was it?
All right, episode 4.
You don't have to say that part.
Oh, okay. It is a period of civil war. Rebel spaceships striking from a hidden base have won their first victory against the evil Galactic Empire. During the battle, Rebel spies managed to steal secret plans to the Empire's ultimate weapon, the Death Star, an armored space station with enough power to destroy an entire planet. Pursued by the Empire's sinister agents, Princess Leia races home aboard her starship, custodian of the stolen plans that can save her planet and can save her people and restore freedom to the galaxy.
Yeah, it can't save her planet, unfortunately.
No.
There ain't no hope for Alderaan.
No.
Alderaan is all the wrong pieces now floating around in space, disassembled. A planet deconstructed.
Mm-hmm.
But that's okay. There's plenty more in the galaxy. No, but yeah, the movie opens with like the super famous scene everyone talks about. But I love. We've been pointing out how much we love the blockade runner. We love like that ship design, and then when you see it hauling ass across screen for the first time, the very first Star Wars ship ever shows up, and then you see the long arm of the Empire, and just like the ship that keeps going and going and going, also comes overhead, and it's just like it. That one shot tells you everything about like the dynamic between the rebellion and the Empire.
Yeah, like over evil lord. Big scary ship. Yeah, it's very effective.
But throughout this movie, like that's one of the things that I think is done really well is you feel like, oh man, like the heroes just can't catch a break. Like no matter what, like the scary government, the scary authoritarian empire, like man, like the man is always like right behind them. Like they can't catch a break. Like all the stuff on Tatooine with Luke and Obi-Wan trying to just get off planet, and I thought it like the danger you always feel is like right behind them, you know? It's like they can't even like walk across Mos Eisley without like a spy spying on them.
Yeah.
But yeah, so right from the very beginning, you get this unrelenting empire that's just your big bads of the original trilogy. But after watching like their build up and all of the prequel-y stuff we've been watching, it's a big. I don't know. For me, it's a very satisfying victory in this. Like you really do feel like, oh yeah, like of all the little victories we've watched them win in Rebels and Andor, it's like none of it was as big as like what they pull off. I guess like Lothal, freeing Lothal in Rebels was kind of a big deal. But they didn't have like the stakes of like the whole rebellion wasn't going like the rebellion wasn't going to be like kneecapped if Lothal fell, and that was kind of what was at risk here.
Yeah.
But yeah, just I don't know. I guess to summarize the movie, Luke gets the stolen plans from R2D2. I don't have to summarize. Everyone knows Star Wars, right? Like
yeah. I mean, if you want to do like, I think you need like a 2-second summary, not like the whole. It's like. I don't know.
Okay.
Leia's ships get boarded by Vader and Stormtroopers.
She yeets the plans onto Tatooine with R2 and 3PO.
C-3PO.
3PO he's oblivious to what the hell's going on, like always.
He's a complainer in the desert.
He doesn't he doesn't understand what's going on. Like
yeah.
he has no idea of the scale of any of this. He's just
they
like,
both get captured by the Jawas.
Jawas sold to Luke.
Sold to Owen, technically, not Luke.
Sold to Owen. R2 runs away because he's there to find... Because he knows Obi-Wan... He's like, hey, we used to hang out in the Clone Wars, even though you're going to act like you don't recognize me.
Yeah. But yeah, he makes like a droid stealth mission over to Obi-Wan. Luke goes after him. After complaining to Owen and Beru about, he wants to go to the Imperial Academy,
wants to go to the Academy and then defect to the Rebellion, like Wedge.
Yeah. And his friend
Biggs.
Biggs, yeah.
Who we see in the movie, but we don't see the deleted scene that they put back in the special edition where he catches up with Biggs at Yavin Base.
So he finds Obi-Wan. He reveals that he knew his dad, and they fought in the Clone Wars together. It gives him a lightsaber from his dad.
Yeah.
And then on their way, like, I guess he convinces him, Obi-Wan convinces Luke to take him to that...
Anchorhead.
Yeah.
So then he can find, like, the bus to go to Mos Eisley, and then he can find, like, a spaceship to get off world.
But then they find that the Jawas have been attacked because they sold the droids, and the stormtroopers killed... So that, like, traces them back to Aunt Beru and Uncle Owen. So...
Their skeletons roasting in the desert.
Have been murdered. Which leads
So then Luke
on...
is like, I've become a radicalized anti-fascist. I want to devote my life to fighting the Empire, and I want to be a Jedi like my father. And Obi-Wan is thinking, like, yes! I've been waiting 19 years for this kid to tell me this!
He's like, I've been dodging Owen for 19 years of his, like, anti-Jedi...
It was actually when they're at, like, Obi-Wan's hut, just hanging out over there. Obi-Wan told one of his little Jawa buddy from his little Jawa who came to visit him in the TV show.
Yeah.
So he tells that dude, he's like, "Hey, go over there and just like scorch Owen and Beru."
Oh my God, that's not what happens.
That'll get this kid to join me against the Empire. No, that's not what happens. Of course, I would never.
Anyway,
seriously.
They go to Mos Eisley to get a bride. To Alderaan.
I don't want to like discredit Obi-Wan, the OG Jedi.
Well, you just did, so now you gotta backtrack.
Well, yeah, they instead they hire Han Solo to be their Uber driver.
Yeah.
They have to like sell Luke's car to get the money for the Uber driver. But then the Uber driver is like, holy hell, like the fucking space navy is chasing me. You guys must be in more trouble than I thought. But I'll take y'all to Alderaan. He gets there to find planet destroyed, but the Death Star, that's no moon, that's a battle station.
Yep.
They're like a destroyed planet, and then like, well, this sounds very not feasible, but a destroyed planet, and then what looks like the biggest, most powerful space station ever imagined. I guess maybe that's the smoking gun that destroyed the planet. But they find Leia on the space station. Ben Kenobi dies fighting Vader. They take Leia and the droids back to Yavin, where they find the weakness in the Death Star plans. They can blow up the reactor like Galen Erso wanted. He said blow up that reactor and the whole thing will explode. And then they launch this really cool kind of desperate attack to pull off this like really impossible shot. But yeah, it's just it's so right down to the wire. And what really gets me about like that final scene or like that final sequence with the trench run and everything is that it's more of what we were talking about in Andor in Rogue One. It's like that collective. I guess Rebels had a lot of that too. It's that collective effort.
Yeah.
It's like the whole war. It's a big team effort.
They try like 3 times too to get the reactor hit, so that was pretty suspenseful. There's something else I wanted to say about that, but now I'm forgetting what it was. But man, I don't remember it. But I liked, Vader chasing them. It was kind of like the same tactic though, like each time that kind of bothered me. I'm like, you'd think the rebels would be like, okay, well it didn't work the first time. It didn't work the second time. We're gonna do the same thing a third time. Like, thank God this guy's force sensitive and it worked. But you'd think they'd change up, like, shake it up a little bit if it didn't work.
You had to show how hard it was.
Yeah. But I mean, like, they could have come at it at a different angle. I don't know.
How? It's a fucking trench.
From the other side of the trench.
You can't. Like, you have to come in, like, that side.
Dive bomb straight into it, I don't know. I don't know. I'm not the strategist. I'm just saying they could have shaken
There was a
up.
whole PowerPoint presentation. You have to go down the trench so you don't get shot at by the guns.
Okay. Well, they were getting shot at by other guns.
Yeah. That was the least you're going to get shot at is if you stay in that trench and you take the trench all the way to the exhaust port.
Okay.
But it's still a bitch to pull that off because you try that and then they send a bunch of TIE fighters up your ass.
Yeah.
So. And then if you get there, like Red Leader, like you can still like miss the shot too. It's still like a 1 in a million shot to make.
Yeah.
I mean, Wedge thought it was, or fake Wedge thought it was impossible. That's the fake Wedge who's like, that's impossible.
Okay.
Do you know why I say that's fake Wedge? Because they had a different actor who originally was going to play Wedge, and they just had him like in that scene, and then they recast with a different actor in all the other ones.
Huh.
But they have like the same American voice dub over the English actor. Like a lot of the actors in this movie are Brits that then have an American voice dubbed over them. And they use the same voice over fake Wedge and real Wedge, both.
Oh, interesting. Well, you want to talk about Luke, Leia, Han, Chewie?
So, with these original trilogy movies, kind of the beauty of them is that like each movie was kind of like broken down into 3 different environments. There's 3 different settings, and they're all like very,
unique.
Yeah, like for example, this movie we have desert planet Tatooine,
Death
Star, and then we have like the
Yavin.
jungle planet Yavin.
But also / like Death Star destruction. Those kind of are merged.
Yeah, so, and they're kind of like, like the setting, like the first act, second act, and third act of the movie. So yeah, like, why don't we do, like, the Tatooine-y stuff first, and then we'll talk about the Death Star-ish stuff, and then end with the Yavin, but also, like, the big battle.
Okay.
So, Tatooine, I don't know, just I was talking about how much I love, like, the spaceship shots at the beginning, just, like, from a storytelling perspective, but also just from, like, a technological perspective. One of the reasons why I love and cherish watching the despecialized edition is because a big part of my enjoyment of this movie is just thinking about, like, man, it's so cool what these people could create in 1977. Like, I want to see the visuals that they made. Like, I want to see the movie that won these Oscars for, like, best editing and best special effects.
Yeah, I think it stands up really well. Like, I don't really think you needed to change anything. There's, like, a couple of scenes with the lightsaber where you could see them, like, cut from the lightsaber on to the lightsaber off. It was kind of awkward when Luke was holding it in Obi-Wan's house.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, a few little, like, visual things like that.
But they're not... I don't think that they take you out of it or anything. It's just like, well, that's how it is.
Yeah. But, I mean, I guess to be fair, from George Lucas's perspective, he's like, man, like, oh, I wish we could have, like, got that, like, a little bit better. But I don't think, like, the reaction of that was, like, you get to go and be like, okay, well, it's 20 years later, I have, like, a new special effects team, and we're gonna go and, like, overdo the work of, like, the guys I hired back in the 70s. Like, I don't like that.
Yeah, I don't like that either.
So I'm very happy that the original version of the film is getting the re-release in February of next year. That's, the happiest news I've gotten from the Star Wars, I guess, franchise in a long time. But
yeah, a long time. Any more on Tatooine? I mean, I think Owen and Beru's house is cool. I always think that's a neat location.
And like they mean that, like it's funny, like their roles have a little bit of a different meaning now than after seeing the Obi-Wan Kenobi show. I kind of gave that show a hard time, especially when it first came out.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, I mean, like, Owen being so protective of Luke and not wanting them to, like, run off and join the Imperial Academy. And, like, Beru saying, like, he's just not a farmer. He's got too much of his father in him. And him saying, that's what I'm afraid of. And I always thought that, like, this is probably not what the actors were thinking in 1977, but just me watching the original trilogy as someone like, I've seen The Empire Strikes Back. I know that Vader is Luke's dad. I kind of always liked the idea of Owen being like, yeah, that's what I'm afraid of, that he's going to, like, turn out like Vader. Like, he's going to, like, do this weird Force stuff, and he's going to, like, become an evil space Nazi. But even without that, though, like, he's just doing the job he was asked to do. Like, when Obi-Wan showed up in Revenge of the Sith, with this baby, and it was like, here, like, raise this kid, like, it's crucial that this is Anakin's child, but we keep that secret and keep him safe.
Yeah.
And then that's all he did for, like, 19 years after that. I was like, okay, like, I'll look out for this boy. Like, that's the most important thing in my life, from the time I wake up to the time I go to bed, is to look after this boy. And that's, I mean, he was just doing the job they asked him to do.
Yeah. I even took, like, even if Owen doesn't know that Anakin turned into Vader, it's kind of funny to think of him being like, I hated that little shit, Anakin.
Oh, no.
Like, he came
I
and
mean, he
visited
probably
us
does.
one
He's
time,
like, I
and he
saw
was a
him
pain
one
in the
time,
ass.
and he stole my droid.
Yeah, he was a dick.
He's like, man, like this gold droid over here this kind of reminds me of that droid that your daddy took from us. But like, that one wasn't gold though.
Yeah.
um, but yeah, I like Owen. But yeah, there's no way that he knew that Anakin became Vader because Obi-Wan thought that
Anakin was
dead.
Yeah.
So that's what he would have told Owen. He was like, Anakin's dead. He died in the Clone Wars. Don't ask about it.
At first.
Yeah.
But if they talked after the Obi-Wan Kenobi show,
I don't think he would have thought about that too. But like in that show, like Vader makes a big deal of telling Obi-Wan, like, you think you killed Anakin Skywalker? I killed Anakin Skywalker. He was weak and he's dead, and I'm Darth Vader now. And I think Obi-Wan heard that, and he's like, I guess I'm off the hook then. So
is that why he didn't kill him a second time?
So he goes home and he's like, yep, Owen, yeah, Anakin's dead. Remember me telling you he died in the Clone Wars? He sure as hell did, yep. So he just doubled down, if anything.
Man.
And then, like, when Luke was like, how did my father die? And then Obi-Wan was like, I am so glad I had a conversation with him 9 years ago about this. Because, well, there's a pupil of mine named Darth Vader. He helped the Emperor hunt down, kill all the Jedi, starting with your dad. I loved Anakin, man. Like, he was a cunning warrior. He was a great friend, and then Darth Vader killed him. So, like, you're gonna come help me. You're gonna come help me fight the Empire and fight Darth Vader, right? It was like, shucks, they killed your aunt and uncle too, man. You ready to take this lightsaber and go fight some fascists with me?
Yeah, Obi-Wan does not seem grieved at all about the Lars's death.
No, I think he is, but just, yeah. What do you mean he's not grieved? Like
he's very stoic about it.
Yeah, I think
he's secretly like, yay.
No, I think he was like sad for Luke.
I think he's sad for Luke, but I think he's secretly like, good, this is going exactly how I want it to now.
When I watch this movie, it also like it stirs up all these like childhood memories of watching like Alec Guinness as Obi-Wan. I always thought he would be like this cool like grandpa to come like, he's like Gandalf in The Lord of the Rings or The Hobbit. He's just kind of like shows this like cool old wizard who, but like he feels like safe to be around. Like he's gonna look out for you. He was like, come on this adventure. I need you to go do this shit. It's kind of like how old people, when you're young, they like they don't want to get up and do the hard shit, so they always have to ask someone younger to go do it. It's kind of like that. But I love Alec Guinness's performance. There's like he plays it with like a certain kind of like he always looks like he's like in deep thought, reminiscing about something. Like he has like a lot of like memories of like, and, they kind of want him when they were creating Star Wars, when they made this movie. I guess the presentation of the universe they were giving us was that like there used to be these really cool ancient warriors, the Jedi, and it was just a more vivid time, a more colorful time, and then the Empire came along and ruined all of that, and now you have this authoritarian misery. And but he kind of like longs for like these like better days. That's like a big theme in Tolkien. A lot of like Tolkien stuff. I was just mentioning like Lord of the Rings a moment ago, but it's all like the good old days are gone, and like this like the modernity is kind of they're bringing in like all this cool new stuff, but also like we're losing a lot of the, I guess, like the less material, but it's almost like a lot of like the old philosophies are kind of being erased and forgotten. And you kind of see that with Vader and Tarkin too. Like they spend a lot of time on the Death Star with Tarkin telling Vader like, yeah, you're all that's left of that old the cool old Jedi stuff, like
the religion.
It's when they were making this movie, they clearly didn't think that like, that was just only 19 years ago, but it would also, but then when they're making the prequel stuff later, it's like, well, it has to be only 19 years ago because Luke and Leia
are only 19.
Right.
Yeah.
So, it kind of contradicts itself a little bit there. seemingly, but
Well, I think that's like part of the Empire's thing, though, is to be like, that was so long ago, to like gaslight people and to be like, don't think about that. That's the old, and we're the new.
but yeah, but I think that's just the in-universe thing is that they've been trying to make everyone forget about the Jedi. Like Luke doesn't know anything about like the Jedi or the Force. I guess it's something like the common person, like yeah, typical like moisture farmer on Tatooine wouldn't know much about, but.
Yeah, even when like Obi-Wan used the lightsaber at the bar, at the cantina, everyone was kind of like, oh, and then just went back to business, you know? Like, you're thinking of like the Empire was still super searching for Jedi, and that was like a really big deal, then he'd be like reported immediately.
Yeah, but there was probably someone, I mean, I think like the common term was like laser sword is what like the common person would say. So there were probably people being like, oh yeah, like there was a laser sword in here. Someone else would be like, "Ah, you're full of shit. There was no laser sword. You're drunk. Don't listen to him." But yeah, but I mean, those stormtroopers did get on the site pretty quick.
Yeah.
They're also looking for these droids with the plans.
Yeah, they're like, commotion? Maybe that's our guy.
But I love the way that the movie spends so much time with just like the droids in the beginning. It's so like it had to have been so weird to see this movie for the first time in 1977, and you just hear like people talking about like just weird shit like are we gonna get sent to the spice mines of Kessel, or you think they're gonna melt us down, or like, oh, I can't wait to get in this oil bath, and just people like what the fuck is this shit, like,
yeah.
Droids, is that some word for a robot, like is that like a short for android?
Yeah.
Like, what the hell is this? It never, like, explains it to you, though. It's just like you just hit the ground running.
I like that, though. I like when stuff does it, because it's more immersive. It's like, well, you'll just get it from context, and when there's more, you'll understand more. It's
such a fast-paced movie. Like, it's the slowest of all the Star Wars movies, but, like, at the time, you know, if you go read any, like, old review, of everyone talks about, like, the rapid pace. Like, some people are like, man, the movie is impossible to keep up with. It just throws so much stuff at the audience, you can't keep track of it all, but...
Interesting, because I was kind of thinking, like, after watching Rogue One, and you mentioned that Rogue One's last hour, like, flies by.
Mm-hmm.
I feel the same thing about this one, A New Hope / Star Wars, if you're you. But,
you can call it A New Hope. I'm just weird that I don't want
that.
to.
But
I grew up with saying it's called Star Wars, The Empire Strikes Back, and Return of the Jedi.
But I was thinking that, watching it this time, I was like, you know, it is kind of slower in the beginning, like Rogue One, and then the last hour just, like, flies by. Like, as soon as they're, like, on the Death Star, rescuing Leia, it's like, action, 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 scary thing, action, scary thing.
There's no more, like Luke literally tries to, like, sit down at the table and just grieve for a moment, and they're like, sorry, kid, we're not out of this yet, let's go.
Yeah.
The unrelenting Empire. That's what I'm talking about. Like, that's the asymmetrical warfare. But yeah, like you don't get to rest. You don't get to take breaks. Like they're always gonna be coming after you.
Well, it's such a good contradiction to the beginning of the movie, because you're like, oh, the slow life and slow pace of Tatooine.
He hated that. He wanted to be in the excitement.
It's like, well, you're in it now.
Be careful what you wish for, kid. Yeah.
So I think that's really good storytelling.
But you have to show that slower, like, day-to-day life.
Yeah, for it to be more impactful about the rebellion and, like, what you got to do to get your shit together. But yeah, I always kind of struggle a little bit in the beginning. I think some of the droid stuff goes on a little too long.
It brings back so many memories of me watching that as a little kid. I don't know, maybe because, like, I was just, like, left alone with the VCR to watch this movie. For a while it might have been a daily thing, I think. But I just have, like, so many thoughts of just, like, watching these robots argue and bicker and get kidnapped by Jawas and then, like, human trafficked, robot trafficked. Yeah. But just watching these objects, these metallic objects have a story in the desert.
I always felt so bad for R2-D2 when he's, like, going all by himself through the little canyon and, like, the sand people are, like, stalking him, and he's making those sad little beeps. He's like, ooh, ah. But when I was a kid, I was so scared for him.
So I'm just trying to imagine, like, if I was this grown adult, say I was 40 years old in 1977, and I walked in the theater, and I'm watching this movie for the first time in my life, I'm trying to think, like, what would my reaction be to, like, when the droids are on the sand crawler, and there's, like, this... and C-3PO has like his reunion with R2 and says, "R2-D2, it is you." And there's like all these just weird ass robots just like dancing around on the sand crawler, rolling around in the desert. Like, just watching that in 1977 and just being like, what the fuck did I come to watch? Like, I thought this was gonna be like Star Trek or Space 1999 or something, and it's like I don't even know where this is. A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. What the fuck does that mean? And now there's a bunch of like robots dancing around on this thing driving around in the desert. And like, but it's a long time before you even meet Luke.
Yeah.
In the movie.
What I like about this is that they introduce Luke, Leia, and Han. Like, it's never like a big deal. Like, every time they introduce the characters, they're pretty like minimal.
If you're watching it for the first time, you wouldn't know that like, oh, she's gonna be like a main. Like, you see this in the opening, like, oh, maybe that's the last we see of that girl.
Yeah. And then
we're following the droids now.
Yeah. We kind of like see her like poke around her head. She's like making the message. Like, it's definitely mysterious, but you're kind of like, well, she could be anyone.
Yeah.
And then same like when we get Luke introduced, where Owen is like actually doing most of the talking, and then Luke like runs up, you know, and he's like, Luke, go and blah 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 blah, and there's not like an introduction to the audience. It's very subtly bringing them in. I think that was pretty good. The only one I think like that had like a bigger introduction was Han Solo, and it was because he like plopped himself down in that chair and was like, "Hi, I'm Han Solo, pilot of the Millennium Falcon," you know. But that was like the biggest, like, direct audience tell. Like, this is who this character is, you know.
I really dig all of their performances are so good in this, but I was really trying to pay attention to the dialogue watching it today, just thinking about, like, man, it's like that awkward George Lucas scripting that all these actors complain about. And I feel like in the editing of this movie, like, I've seen like a lot of cut lines, I've seen like a lot of like earlier drafts of the script, and I've seen like a lot of deleted scenes. It's like, man, my cat lady is agreeing with me. They're like, man, Lucas's dialogue, like the stuff that they cut out is even like more awkward than some of this stuff. But just like the way he's like, you know of the rebellion against the Empire? Mm-hmm. Like that's just like a weird way to say that.
And
like,
it's super loud.
You're part of the rebellion?
Yeah.
Yeah, like who's gonna be like, you know of the rebellion against the Empire?
Like everyone probably knows
something.
Like,
but I guess he was surprised the droid would know something about it. Maybe I don't know.
So.
But yeah, it's just like that awkward George Lucas dialogue, and you get the impression like everyone kind of talks real quickly like this in the movie, because the only direction they got from George was
faster, louder.
Yeah, faster, more intense was the way that everyone seems to remember him saying it. So it's so much of his direction on display. You know, this is the only one of the original trilogy that he is credited as directing himself. He kind of ghost directed a lot of Return of the Jedi, but it's just interesting seeing like so much of his awkwardness on display in this movie, but also like so much of his genius. You know, like the production design. People called it a used future, even though Star Wars isn't set in the future. It took people a while to figure out what that a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away actually means. But, yeah, everyone would talk about, like, oh, yeah, you know, normally when they do, like, these science fiction movies and you show this advanced technology that doesn't exist in real life, they present it in a way where it looks so, like, clean and polished and, like, right out of the assembly line. And George Lucas's idea was, like, no, like, if this is a real universe where people live in this universe, then things would look used.
Yeah.
Because people would be using them.
Yeah.
So, like the gold droid, you know, you buff him up for the big ceremony, but, you know, if he's been, like, running around through the desert, he's going to look all, like, cruddy and shit.
Yeah. I think that's another good thing that they think about heavily in the design of the ships and, like, speeders and, like, all the vehicles, I guess. Like, the big one I think was cool is the Jawa transporter thing. What would you call that?
The sand crawler.
The sand crawler, thank you. But it has, like, those big, like, tank wheel things, like, treads. Like, that's perfect for sand. Like, if you're going to be on... They have wheels on sand.
Right, because even though it's so stupid, yeah, like, these little short aliens who live in the desert and they capture robots and then sell them. It's like but Star Wars is like the most like stupid, ridiculous shit, but then takes itself so seriously. And it's like, well, what would that actually look like? How would we actually show that?
Yeah.
You know, like
They think about function and form.
Yeah.
I like it. I mean, it works really well. They definitely have some really iconic designs.
Joel in the live audience is talking about Hidden Fortress, the Akira Kurosawa movie that inspired R2-D2 and C-3PO. But yeah, the idea of telling like this big epic story with like royalty and empires and ships and battles, a lot of politics going on, but that would all kind of be the backdrop, and we would just kind of watch like these two bumbling, unimportant people, and they're just kind of like wandering their way through this like big epic story that's taking place all around them.
Yeah,
it was kind of the original inspiration for R2 and 3PO, and yeah, there's a lot of you know, we've mentioned Akira Kurosawa on here before. But Obi-Wan Kenobi, you know, he's largely based on hell, originally George Lucas wanted Toshiro Mifune, who was the star in a lot of those samurai movies that Akira Kurosawa made, to play Obi-Wan Kenobi. But yeah, you know, he was based on samurai. Like, that was, if you hear like any interview with Alec Guinness, he's like, yeah, like George and I talked about the character, and he told me he wanted him to be kind of like this mysterious old space samurai, basically.
Yeah.
He like lives and dies by this like honor code. And trying to think if there's any other Kurosawa stuff that's super apparent in this first movie. But the Mos Eisley spaceport, you know, that kind of like the Sandcrawler, that's like another just a bunch of like weird, colorful characters showing up instead of it being like, you know, like the Gonk droid and that AP5 looking guy. It's, you know, you have like the werewolf in the bar and the
Cad Bane species.
Yeah, the original Hammerhead is there. Like all these iconic alien designs that then like all the rest of Star Wars, we see all these species show up again and again and again, but this is where they got their start.
Yeah. And
they really needed that scene in the cantina, because there's not that many aliens in this movie, because all, you know, everyone we see in the Empire is human, and then everyone we see at Yavin in the Rebellion is human.
Yeah. Besides droids.
Oh, yeah, there's some droids helping out.
Yeah, the cantina is very rich with alien life. I also noticed, because I really like Rodians a lot, and Greedo has a little bit of the galaxy eye, more like Clone Wars than Rebels.
Greedo, the OG Rodian.
Yeah. So he has like a lot of sparkles in his eyes. I missed that in Rebels when we were watching that. I felt like the Rodian's eyes looked dead compared to like the Clone Wars ones. But yeah, there's some really good costumes in Star Wars.
We talked a lot about the lightsabers in this movie. Like, I like, you know, it's not like a very big exciting lightsaber battle we get in the Death Star between Alec Guinness and Darth Vader, but I like the way that lightsabers are treated with so much respect and reverence in this movie. Like, when Luke first lights up the lightsaber, which you gotta, you know, imagine, like, no one had ever seen something like that in a live action movie that looked quite like that. So, you know, when people first saw that, like, oh, cool, what a, like, fun, creative idea. Like, I wish I could, everyone would just want one of those. Like, I wish I had this little thing I could pull out of my pocket and press a button and it would turn into, like, this big laser sword. You know, any kid watching that movie would want, I wish Obi-Wan Kenobi would come show up and hand me a lightsaber. It'd be like, hey, you want to go learn to be a Jedi? Come with me. But they make it such a big deal, and then when you see Obi-Wan have to use it in the cantina, he just like barely flashes that thing for like a split second, and then these two scary looking guys in the bar are just
drop.
Yeah. And it's graphic too. They show you like a severed arm with blood in a rated PG movie.
Yeah.
Because 1977 was hardcore like that. You cut off someone's arm and still be PG. But they didn't have PG-13 back then. But yeah, the lightsabers are, you know, like when he calls it a more elegant weapon for a more civilized age, but you see like, oh yeah, it's still like pretty fucking deadly in the right hands.
Right.
But Han Solo's introduction there in the bar, I love the reason why I asked Taylor to wear my Han Shot First shirt But I think that's I think that's a crucial detail about Han Solo that's fundamental to the movie that they shouldn't have changed for the special edition, because I think like the fact that he's in that much shit that there are like we've just met this guy. All we've seen of him is like the 5 minutes we've seen of him in this bar. And there's already this Rodian coming on him being like, hey, there's like this big ass bounty on your... And like Han is willing to kill this Rodian to run away from the Jabba the Hutt.
Yeah.
So you're like, hey, this guy is desperate. That means he's dangerous. He's a shady character. Like, could he betray Luke? Could he betray Ben? Could he betray Leia? It's like, you don't know. I think it makes, when he actually returns at the end of the movie and does the right thing and comes and helps out at the end.
Yeah, it makes it a bigger deal.
It makes it a bigger deal. So he... It was, but at that point in like 1997, Lucas was like, "Oh no, I shouldn't have done that in 1977 when I was like this cooler, edgier, more creative person." But because Han Solo became like this big beloved character, and I don't know, I don't want my kids to see a movie of like someone shooting first like that and everyone like celebrate him. I've got to be like a responsible parent now and think about setting a good example for the kids. Why don't we make it where Greedo actually shoots first? I'm like, no, George, you had it right the first time, I think. But again, and if you realize you fucked up, it's like, well, you shouldn't get to go back and like change your art and be like, I was wrong about that.
Agree.
It's like, well, that was weird. The person you were back then. Like if I made something now, I wouldn't want myself from like 20 years from now like come back and tell me like what I was doing wrong. I'd be like, well, fuck you. This is the way I see it now, you know?
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah, I think he has too much power there. Like someone should be have like a little bit of a barrier for Lucas. I think he always does better when he's held back a little bit.
Well, I used to give so much credit to Marsha Lucas, his wife, as like, oh man, like he shot all this weird ass shit, and then his wife like understood how to take all of his weird awkwardness and translate it into something other people could understand. Like,
yeah.
I'll find the good story in all of your bullshit, George. But it sounded like there was like it was more of a collaborative process. There were like several people editing the movie. But yeah, it definitely it takes a village with George Lucas. Yeah, he's not the guy who should just be like, you have all the power. You have sole writer credit, sole director credit, and total creative control. Because when you do that, you get the prequels.
Yeah.
And I don't think they're his best work.
No.
I have a bit more respect for them than I used to have, but I still don't think they're good movies. I think there's parts of them that I think are good, and I can understand people who like them, but I don't think any of them are good.
Yeah.
And I don't really like them, but...
Yeah, I don't really like them either. Sorry. One thing I saw recently, because we've been doing Star Wars so much, I get a lot of Star Wars on my Facebook and Instagram now, but so I read this thing that George Lucas had said that Chewie and Han were like a man and his dog.
Yeah.
Have you heard this theory?
He said that he had a dog who would ride in his passenger seat of his car. So like going down the road, he thought like we must look like this man and this dog that are both like sitting in the... There's like a pilot and a co-pilot.
Mm-hmm. Well, in this post, the person was like, I think George got it wrong. Chewie is the man and Han is the dog. Yeah,
that's an old joke that's been around for a long time. But
they're like, why would you give your life debt to like, if you're a Wookiee, you live like what, like 100, 200 years? They live
400 years, I think, and Chewie is 200.
Yeah, and so he's like, well, yeah, I guess I would give my 80-year-old lifespan of this dog. Like, what's sticking around with that?
But yeah, it's like, Han is just like his current pet. And like when he dies, he's like, okay, I'm just gonna adopt Rey after you. So Rey is like his new little cute puppy.
Yeah, exactly. I liked having that switcheroo. That was really funny.
Yeah, like we saw him get this puppy in Solo, a Star Wars story.
Yeah, I like that we see Chewie and Obi-Wan talk at the bar. Like Chewie's like the one getting work.
He's the
for
PR.
Them.
Yeah.
He's like, I can't send Han out here because he pisses everyone off.
Originally, they had shot Han. He was like flirting with these ladies that were hanging out in the cantina also, but they cut them out of the movie. But which I'm not sure why, but Yeah, so I guess Chewie. We were saying like, but Chewie was fought in the Clone Wars. Chewie knew Yoda, so maybe he would like. It is weird that Han is so like, I don't believe in the Force. I've never seen anything like that. There's no mystical energy field controls my destiny. But like, I feel like Chewie is probably telling him like I've seen some weird Force shit. Like I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't like disrespect the Force in front of this Jedi.
Chewie's like, I have to let my dog learn on his own. You want to talk about boarding the Millennium Falcon and rescuing the princess?
Yeah, so the Falcon is just such like a cool, unique ship design in of itself. Originally the blockade runner, the Tantive 4, was going to be the look of the Millennium Falcon, and then George was like, "Oh, it looks too close to the ship in Space 1999," which is also kind of a long, rockety looking ship. So he's like, "Okay, let's make that the Leia's ship at the beginning, and then this other thing that looks like a hamburger with a bite taken out of it. That'll be the Millennium Falcon."
It works.
Yeah, no, I love it. And just the way that, like, when Luke sees it and he's like, what a piece of junk. And then Han being all insulted, saying, well, she makes 0.5 past light speed. And, like, this is the ship that made the Kessel Run in less than 12 parsecs. Although in Solo, a Star Wars story, he says it's less than 14. And then Chewie, like, roars something, and then Han says, well, not if you round down. So it was never even 14.
Yeah.
But now he's going around telling people it was 12. I think in The Force Awakens he tells Rey it's 10, so... the other gag like that in Rogue One, those guys are talking about, they retired the VT-15s, and it was about time, you know? And then here in the Death Star, we have the two stormtroopers, they're like, have you seen the new VT-16s? They're really something else. And that comes back again in The Force Awakens. I think they're talking about, like, the 17s now.
Yeah, that's funny.
Whatever the hell that is. No one knows what a VT-16 is, but... but yeah, the Falcon is cool. Harrison Ford is so fucking good in this movie. It's like, man, like I can see why like this came out in '77 and he just immediately got like a bunch of other work and stuff. He lucked out, but he was working with like a lot of talented people. But just like imagine going like in 1980, you know, he does Empire Strikes Back, and then 81, I believe, is Raiders of the Lost Ark. And then 82 is Blade Runner, and then 83 is Return of the Jedi. No wonder he had like a fucking massive career after that.
Yeah.
But didn't quite work out for Carrie Fisher and Mark Hamill, mainly because they didn't do anything else that was like a big iconic role at this point early in their career. So anything they did after this is just like people saw them as like, you're Luke Skywalker, you're Princess Leia.
Yeah.
Like for the rest of your life. But with Harrison Ford, they're like, you're Han Solo and Indiana Jones and Blade Runner. It's like, so I guess they weren't like so. He was also like older than them too. Yeah. He's like in his 30s, so he's like, I've been dying to like break out in Hollywood and get some work like this. So, but. He is so good as Han in this movie. Just like if you watch him, like he's constantly doing stuff with his face. He's constantly reacting. He's processing. Like he's just gesturing. But he's always conveying something to the audience.
Yeah.
But I love like like when they're boarding the ship and C-3PO like greets them and then Hans like rolls his eyes. Yeah. He's just like, great, a protocol droid. I hate these fucking things.
Yeah. I think it's really good that he's so serious, or not serious, but I don't know, like Han Solo has like a different vibe, obviously, than like Luke, but like Luke's kind of whiny and like, you know, and it's good to have Han be like this really cocky, arrogant, confident, you know, faker. I don't want to say faker, but like he's like also an actor. Like Han is acting a lot. You know what I mean? Well,
he's doing like that macho thing, you know, like which is always like kind of a performance. And I feel like the movie it's very like self-aware of that though. It is like very modern from like 1970s point. It's a very modern movie with like the way how Leia is handled. You know, they go on the Death Star and rescue the princess, but then like she picks up a gun and starts fighting back. Also, you know, at the time would have been considered like very subversive. And it's so funny to me to think about this George Lucas in the 1970s, who's thinking like, man, like it's so hard for me to explain this to people, but I can see the vision of it in my mind and I know it works. We could do like this like old classic 1930s Flash Gordon style serial science fiction space opera movie. Like that's what he called it, a space opera. He's like, I don't want it to be like science fiction. This is more like fantasy. This is like opera at its scope. It's like that epic, grandiose type of mythic story I want to tell. Like that's what those Buster Keaton guys were trying to do back in the Buster Krabs was the Buster Keaton was the comedian guy. But they were trying to do like with the Flash Gordon shit and the old Buck Rogers stuff. And then he was like, but I also want it to be like a very modern movie and kind of like comment on not just like the Vietnam War, but also like this kind of like macho muscle car culture. Like this guy's, showing off his cool hot rod Millennium Falcon, but like Leia's like, well, I don't have time for your bullshit. Like I guess I'll roll up my sleeves and get the work done myself because you guys don't know what the fuck you're doing.
Yeah.
So and I could just imagine him being just like this awkward nerd in the 70s trying to explain that to people and who had never, seen anything close to Star Wars, just be like, what the fuck is this guy talking about? Like, no, I'm not going to give you money to make your dumb robots walking around in the desert movie.
Right.
But on the Falcon is also like when Luke first, I guess he makes like his first big connections to the Force when he's doing like his lightsaber training with that's like the only time he gets lightsaber training until Yoda in The Empire Strikes Back. I guess we don't see it, but at some point Yoda maybe gave him some lightsaber pointers. Although by that point, Yoda is like, oh, war doesn't make one great kind of Yoda. So I always pictured original trilogy Yoda was like, he never had lightsabers. He was above all that, but then the prequels came out and they're like, no, he like spun around like a Tasmanian devil.
Yeah.
But now I can kind of look at that as like, well, that was, Yoda being like, oh yeah, we shouldn't have done that. We shouldn't have been generals in a war. But we'll talk about more of that with Empire Strikes Back. But yeah, it gets like a little bit of lightsaber training here. It's weird to me because, Luke, like his whole world has just been upended. Like his parents, his aunt and uncle being roasted in front of him. But now he's ready to, do this thing. Go, yeah, I guess, like, I was just saying, no kid would watch this movie and not want to do this. So, like, obviously, he's like, okay, I'll take the lightsaber from Ben Kenobi and go be a Jedi, go fight the Empire. When he gets on the Death Star, they never make a big deal about, like, the first time Luke, gets in battle. Or, like, first time he has to, like, kill someone. Mm-hmm. This guy, and I think that might have been Lucas just, that didn't even occur to him to be like, well, I want it to be a fun, movie that kids can enjoy. I don't want to, like, traumatize people. It's like, no, like, go fighting the Empire can be, like, this fun adventure, too. But I something that I was trying to think about watching this was kind of Luke's journey. Like, what would it be like to be a 19-year-old kid just along for the ride on all this stuff?
Right.
But yeah, we can talk about, like, the Death Star. Leia, very different experience than Luke. She's been kind of trained for this the last, for half of her life, basically. Yeah. She's 19 years old, and she got brought into this stuff at age 9. So it's now, like, been most of her life. Has been working towards defeating the Empire. A lot of people comment on the moment when Alderaan's destroyed. But I guess like in the scene before that, when Carrie Fisher does that scene against Peter Cushing in like a very Peter Cushing-y English accent.
Oh yeah.
Which has been like retconned to be like, oh, that's Leia mocking Tarkin. She's like, I'm gonna speak to you in like your fancy accent, but apparently they don't talk like that in Alderaan, because no one from Alderaan, everyone from Alderaan has an American accent.
Also, this is after she's been mind probed, right? So she could be a little loopy.
Yeah, because she wouldn't give away the location of the rebel base, and then here she lies and says it's Dantooine. Mm-hmm. Similar to Tatooine. So it's like another confusing thing, George. It's like, how are you going to have Dantooine and Tatooine in the same fucking movie, It's just like, that's an unnecessary detail. I mean, I guess it would kind of make sense, It's like, I'm from a town called Rockdale. Right next to it, there's a town called Thorndale. Yeah. But if I was, like, making a movie, I don't know if I would put, like, I would use, like, let's name a town Thorndale, another town Rockdale as, like, 2 plot points. I'd be like, oh, that's going to confuse the audience. Don't do that.
Yeah.
but the Death Star, all of that stuff looks so good. It's amazing to me that they were able to make that in 1977. The effects of like the Falcon being pulled in on the tractor beam, there's just like the details of seeing like the stormtroopers in Zero G out on like the edge of the like I don't even know why you would have troops patrolling out there, but it looks cool as fuck in the movie. I'm glad they have that. There's a lot more science though in this movie than like some of the, like because they were still figuring out Star Wars when they were making this. So they talk about like we gotta raise the magnetic field or lower the field, raise it or what. You get the impression they're like decompressing that hangar bay. Mm-hmm. But we see in other movies like Star Wars hangar bays you can just fly in and out of somehow. That's how the force fields work. They hold in the air, but ships can go through. No one knows how it works, so we just accept that it's like that in the Star Wars universe. And so I guess like George hadn't quite figured out how much science he wanted in his fiction. Hadn't quite figured out the Star Wars recipe yet. But I feel like by the end of this movie, like that's what this movie was. It was like figuring out Star Wars. Mm-hmm. Like this is my favorite Star Wars movie of all. It's my favorite Star Wars anything. For most of my life, I think I was probably like Empire Strikes Back is the best. But in my adult life, I don't know, at some point maybe about 10 or so years ago, I actually remember talking about it with Dave. I was like saying like, Dave, I think the first one is my favorite. And he was like, well, hold on, Fatheree, I want to hear about this because I think you're reaching the same conclusion that I reached a few years ago, but tell me why. But I was just saying like, well, it's the most Star Warsy of all of them. Like it has so much of like that Star Wars uniqueness. But I use this as kind of like the gold standard to measure of like what is Star Wars, and this is kind of what I compare everything else up. I pair it up against this. Like, does it coexist with that? Does it? How well does it jive with this?
Yeah.
And sometimes when I have like, oh yeah, like General Grievous, spinning around all of his lightsabers and like this big CGI fight. It doesn't feel like it exists in like this world where like the Jawas are selling these droids in the garage sale to Uncle Owen.
Yeah.
Or doesn't feel like I don't know, like Peter Cushing standing on the Death Star sets. It just doesn't match. But after watching like all these other things we've been watching and seeing like, oh, there's such like a wide variety of Star Wars, it kind of like, oh yeah, there's room for anything in this universe. But yeah, this is kind of what I this is like the tone that I want the rest of Star Wars to be like. The Andor, that's the other thing that impresses me so much about Andor, is that I have no problem plugging all 24 episodes of Andor into the world that this movie from 1977 takes place in. Like all of that fits.
Yeah.
In my imagination. It fits better than, honestly, Andor fits better with the stuff than some of the shit in Return of the Jedi. I don't like this doesn't really feel like a world that would have like the Ewok teddy bears bringing down the Empire. Sure. I'm an Ewok defender now. Like I like Ewoks. I finally got convinced to like Ewoks, but yeah. I don't know. You have any Death Star thoughts?
The garbage compactor scene always stressed me the hell out
Yeah.
as a kid, and still to this day I'll be like, they're gonna get crushed. Like I don't know, that was good suspense, good drama, and I like Leia and Han and Luke all screaming, and like it feels so realistic. Like they all feel very scared, and I like like Han and Leia bitching at each other the whole time. Like that dynamic is so good, where she doesn't take any shit, and like Han wants to keep dishing it, and he's kind of a dick, like,
yeah.
And Leia's like, absolutely not, and Luke's just there like, C-3PO, and they're like having a whole argument in the background. It's super funny to me. It's very on brand for all three characters. Like, I feel like Luke is so like out of the loop. Mark Hamill was so like out of the loop, like with all the drama, and like Leia and Han.
Apparently, there is some real life stuff of like Mark Hamill being out of the loop.
I know.
Like when
on purpose.
When Carrie talked about like she hooked up with Harrison Ford.
I read her book.
Oh yeah, then Mark Hamill was like, I had no idea.
Yeah.
It's like I worked with them on 3 different movies. I had no idea that happened.
He was like la la la
Yeah.
la la la. Yeah. he was very.
But
innocent.
it's like, oh, they're like a good cast.
Yeah, no, it's perfect cast.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, I really thought the garbage compactor scene was really good, and You know, it's funny. This is the first time that I've watched this movie with the thought of C-3PO being the original Jar Jar.
Yeah.
And
he's the
I
comic
see
relief.
it a little bit more now because, like, he was pretty annoying, like, in some of these scenes where he's, like, constantly complaining and stuff. Or, like, he turned the comm link off and he was like, oh, I turned the comm link off. Maybe I should turn that back on. I was like, oh, God.
But I mean, I don't know.
But he's way smarter. He's way smarter. Like,
he's a little scatterbrained the whole movie, but...
Well, to be fair, they keep scrambling his brain. So, like,
Yeah,
poor dude. He's, like, having to restart every few years. But I really liked C-3PO and R2 when they're hiding from the stormtroopers in that room where Han, like, blasted the console. And they pretend that they were locked in there by the rebels or whatever. And he's like, they went that way. Can I take my malfunctioning droid to maintenance? And, like, and the stormtroopers like, okay. Like, that was really good. Like, they're good at... when it requires it, like they hold up and they get the job done, you know. But
and R2-D2 is really the brains of the operation,
of course.
But yeah, just like let's talk about the droids for a little bit. Just like imagine being in the theater in 1977 and hearing like this robot beep at another robot, and then that robot is like, "Don't call me a mindless philosopher, you overweight glob of grease." Not like you would just be like, "What the fuck am I seeing or hearing?" Like none of this makes sense to me.
I think it's been super fun watching Star Wars with you because we started plugging our own dialogue into the droid beeps.
Yeah.
Like especially for Chopper because we feel like we know what Chopper's saying. Chopper's kind of easier.
That's the funny thing. Like we watched enough Star Wars that like I feel like I got to the point where like I can tell all the clones apart now.
Yeah, I can hear droid beeps and know what he's saying.
But yeah, when we were watching the Rebels, yeah, we did think like, oh yeah, I know exactly what Chopper is saying here.
Yeah.
Like he clearly said, I have a bad feeling about this.
Yeah.
Like I remember at one point we pointed that out.
But I think they do a good job with the one-sided dialogue between C-3PO and R2. Like I think like 3PO says like just enough for you to understand what R2 is saying, but not enough to like know exactly what he's saying. But that's good because it also shows like, oh well, C-3PO at his core is a translator, and it. Oh, go ahead.
I was going to point out that Joel in the audience was saying that Peter Mayhew as Chewbacca would just say lines in English. He'd just be like, "Who does that old man think he is?" And just like in reaction to Obi-Wan Kenobi, and then they would just replace it with animal noises. Yeah. But that was like part of the performance, and then like you give the performance to Ben Burt, the sound guy,
right?
And then he's gonna come up with some of the most iconic sound effects in the world. That's just the amount of talent that falls in this movie. I was just complimenting like the production design is so good. Harrison Ford's acting is so good.
Music, incredible.
John Williams just like knocked it out. And that was we just watched the John Williams documentary on Disney Plus. They talk about how like the big thing in the late 70s, people were using a lot of contemporary music. They wanted to have like these like modern soundtracks, and George was like, no, I wanted it to be like how they would have done it in the 1930s. I want like this classic orchestra. Mm-hmm. And it was like one of the best orchestral scores ever.
Yeah.
Like some of the most iconic film music. But also like Ben Burt with like some of the most iconic sound effects. And then Ralph McQuarrie coming up with all these designs. Like, look at the Ralph McQuarrie concept art. That Star Wars still... Like, I guarantee you something in this Mandalorian and Grogu movie that comes out this year in 2026, I guarantee you there's going to be some Ralph McQuarrie design in that movie. They've had for years and just never used for anything else.
Yeah.
Like, we're constantly, like, watching, like, Rebels or Bad Batch or whatever. I'm like, hey, that was a Ralph McQuarrie... I saw that in a book years ago. Like, they finally used that in something. But yeah, like his designs, like influenced the look of this universe so much. Mm-hmm. It's just like crazy. Like if Lucas hadn't been able to get like Ben Burt and Ralph McQuarrie and there's a lot of good actors. Maybe you could have found someone else who could have done like as good of a Han Solo as Harrison Ford. But it's just like the fact that like that much talent came to... I feel like this was such... Like, the chances of this happening were so rare.
Like, it's like a bunch of happy accidents came together at the right way and the right time. But it's so important for their world building to get it right out of the bat like that. Like, it would have failed, I think, with different music, with different ships, with different script. Who knows? And
I saw Chris Garris in the comments in the live audience pointed out how... wise it was of Lucas to get the merchandising rights and the sequel rights and everything. So he's able to have like full creative control going forward. But yeah, that was and like anyone at 20th Century Fox had like an inkling of how big of a movie this was going to be, they never would have let him get away with that. I mean, like, it turned him into like, it made George Lucas so rich that he eventually just sells his empire to Disney for $4 billion and then donates all $4 billion to charity. He's like, here's $4 billion I didn't even need.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's no way that like that Fox or any other Hollywood studio would have let him get away with that.
Yeah.
No one thought this was going to be anywhere near this big of a deal. They're like, if we're lucky, we'll get our money back. But yeah, and then George holding on to the merchandising rights and the sequel rights, but
you want to talk about Obi-Wan and Vader's
scene?
Well,
also Vader and Tarkin, you know,
okay.
like I love how much of their, their kind of fashy bromance we talked about, that we see the beginning of it in Clone Wars.
Yeah.
But I love that they have that. I love that like they have this this colleague they really respect and like working with.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's kind of a realistic detail. It's like, oh yeah, like why wouldn't that happen? You know, these two guys would enjoy working together, I guess. They're both really good at running an authoritarian empire for their pal, the Emperor. But it's like when the Star Destroyer arrives at the Death Star after he's, captured Leia. And like I made the comment to you, it's like, oh yeah, Annie got back to Tarkin. I've been calling Vader Annie as we've been watching this. That's kind of funny. Like when he shows up in Rebels or Obi-Wan Kenobi, I'm like, oh, here comes Annie. He's pissed off now.
Yeah.
But it's kind of funny. But yeah, I like saying like oh yeah, here comes Annie and Tarkin. They walk into the Death Star briefing room like they're like the top bosses. They're like, come on, let's like walk in this room together and look like we're these cool badasses that run the show. Also, Wolf Yularen is on the Death Star. It's disappointing to see how evil he became, literally sitting down at the table with Tarkin on the Death Star. But I guess this is the end of Wolf Yularen, so he doesn't make it past 0 ABY. But yeah, Vader says, "Oh, I feel a presence that
I haven't felt since
my
old master or something like that."
Yeah, he has like the same line that Maul has on Mandalore when Palpatine shows up. When like Maul gets like that scared look on his face, and he looks over to Savage Opress and he's like, "Oh, I feel a presence that I haven't felt since." And then right after he says that, Palpatine comes in the door. So, but yeah, this is little Annie having that moment. He's like, "Ah, fuck, it's Kenobi, isn't it?" So he still has like that hate boner to get revenge on Obi-Wan. Like we saw in that was how the Obi-Wan Kenobi show ends. And he's like, I still got to go after Obi-Wan, and the Emperor being like, calm the fuck down. Like, you got to do what I tell you to do.
Yeah.
You got to let go of that shit. But then, like in Rebels, he gets on the phone with the Emperor again, and he's like, "Hey, I think Ahsoka Tano is still alive, the apprentice of Anakin Skywalker. You think she could lead us to Kenobi?" So he's so like here he's. Tarkin is even like, man, give it a rest. Like, there's no way Obi-Wan's still alive. He's trying to like talk his friend out of this obsession. He's just like, get over it. Like, I need you to be focused on our work. Like, be focused on the rebel base. But yeah, so Obi-Wan disables the tractor beam so that the Falcon can escape with the princess, and then stays behind to battle Vader. And I don't know, maybe Obi-Wan's thinking like, maybe I got a shot at taking him down. But if not, then at least I'll be like a distraction for everyone else to flee. But I love that moment. It's such a powerful moment. And I think it's like John Williams' music is what makes me get so emotional when I watch it. But when Luke... And Mark Hamill's performance, when he watches Ben...
Yeah.
Seemingly killed. I guess he lives on as a Force ghost.
I did laugh a little bit when Vader stomped on his robe.
But yeah, we were joking around, like, from Vader's perspective, he's like, I have killed so many fucking people with a lightsaber. Like, we've been seeing it since Attack of the Clones.
Yeah.
He's
like, but I've never seen one just disappear.
Yeah. Like that's a new one to me.
But it was funny. I don't know, like the way his like I'm just about like Darth Vader's little boot, like
yeah,
like like rummaging around the robe. Like, I don't know. He didn't even like care enough to like reach down and like pick up the robe or anything. He was like, I'll just stomp on it just to be sure.
I love like if you look into Alec Guinness's eyes, you can see like the conviction when he tells Vader, "You can't win, Darth. If you strike me down, I shall become more powerful than you can possibly imagine." But he's had like the Qui-Gon Jinn training. He's like, man, like our old friend Qui-Gon has taught me some. I know shit about the Force that you and your boss, the Emperor, don't know jack shit about.
Yeah, but it also probably brings a lot of closure to Obi-Wan from Qui-Gon Jinn. Like, okay, because he's in the same parallel, like Luke as Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan is Qui-Gon Jinn. Darth Vader is Maul. Like in this, you know, like Obi-Wan knows that Luke is about to see him slashed down by Vader.
It's like it parallels. Yeah, like he knows. Like, yeah, this is gonna hurt Luke as much as it hurt me when Maul did this to Qui-Gon.
But he's like, but I figured it out, and I understand that there's more to this.
Yeah, he's like, if I got to this point, then this kid can get here too.
But he's like, this is like his final closure on Qui-Gon Qui-Gon's death.
I never even thought about.
You know what I mean? He's like, I'm in Qui-Gon's spot, and he was just as peaceful almost and like understanding when Maul killed him.
Yeah, man, that hit me hard. That makes me sad now because I used to not like Qui-Gon Jinn. I used to just write him off as like dumb Phantom Menace shit. But now like I kind of like the prequel movie I'm softest on now is actually the Phantom Menace.
Yeah.
Like I think it's the one that's close to me. It's like the closest to like real Star Wars movie. I don't know. Maybe because that's like the most practical effects in it. Maybe that's what I'm hung up on.
Yeah.
I don't know. But like, but yeah, I like Qui-Gon Jinn. I like his arc and I like his role and yeah, that's cool to imagine Obi-Wan getting closure on that here because. He also feels a lot of guilt. He was like, Qui-Gon died asking him, like, please train the boy. And like, Obi-Wan tried, and then, like, that boy is, like, standing here as, like, the right hand of the Emperor. You know, he built this fascist empire for the Emperor, you know, like, for the Sith. For, like, everything, like, the Jedi were supposed to be against. And is basically like, man, like, I basically opened the door for the greatest defeat of the Jedi Order ever by training this kid. Mm-hmm. But yeah, like, here he's like, oh, but we got Luke out. And we know from, like, Rebels, like, he's given up. Like, Anakin's dead to Obi-Wan.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
He's dead. Like, it ain't a lie to say, like, yeah, Vader killed him. So to him, he's like, I guess Luke is the chosen one. I guess it's got to be Luke. But like, we got this boy out of this, and yeah, he's like, it's worth. Like, this is what Qui-Gon died for. I thought Qui-Gon died for Anakin, and I fucked that up. But no, Qui-Gon died so that we could have Luke and Leia here, and like, I don't know, this guy from the bar and his dog. You're gonna have to take care of them from here, but like I did my part.
Yeah.
Like, but yeah, he's now like he feel like he's like served the role he had to pick up after Qui-Gon got killed by Maul.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, and I think this also like kind of dismantles some of Vader's like motivations for the last 20 years.
Yeah.
Because it's like if you think about him, like his second job is hunting down Kenobi. Kind of vibe, you know, he's always simmering about Kenobi. I want this done, and now in a way Obi-Wan's kind of shaking him because he's like, well, he no longer has that goal.
Yeah, and in a way, like, he didn't even like really get it. Like, he was like, you think you can't even like kill me? Like, you think you can kill me? And I was like, I'm just gonna vanish. I'm just gonna stop existing.
Yeah.
Like, I'm still around.
Joke's on you.
But yeah, I'm just like I'm not even going to appear in front of you.
It also is kind of an interesting, like, thinking about Obi-Wan killing Maul recently. And
yeah, that was just a couple years before. That was like 2 years ago.
Yeah, it kind of, what am I trying to say? There was something I wanted to say about that where like Obi-Wan, like Maul had that same ambition of like wanting to kill Obi-Wan for revenge, right? Mm-hmm. And so does Vader. They have like that same revenge. And like in a way, he doesn't let either of them be satisfied 100%. You know?
Yeah.
Like, Vader doesn't get, like, the body drop of Obi-Wan. And, obviously, like, Obi-Wan beat Maul. But,
yeah. Anything he beat is, like, you don't get to have, like, this big, like, revenge battle with me. Instead, I'm gonna kill you, but then, like, hold you and comfort you as you die.
Yeah.
Like, the two people that you tried to do that to hurt me when you killed Qui-Gon, when you killed the Duchess Satine. It's like, but like, no, I'm still gonna treat you with the same respect I would treat like the people that I love. And like, yeah, that's Obi-Wan is he's, I think he's like a good representation of the Jedi Order. He's kind of like the best of like of that or of like that institution that like Mace Windu and Yoda ran. He's not because he's a bit of a true believer in it. Unlike like Qui-Gon and even like Ahsoka has enough of that like Anakin rebel in her. Qui-Gon certainly did. Like Qui-Gon was off reading like this like Qui-Gon was figuring out his own shit about the Force before he died. He was definitely more open-minded, but Obi-Wan was always, he was like, oh, let's stick to the book, let's do it the Jedi Order way, and for better or worse. But yeah, he was a good Jedi Order Jedi until he died.
Yeah,
you're as good as you can be. I'll put it that way. But anything else on the Death Star before the big final battle, the Battle of Yavin. The reason why we call this before Battle of Yavin or after Battle of Yavin. So it's a very riveting, cool action moment when the Falcon escapes the Death Star, but they have to still shoot all those TIE fighters. I made the joke of like Luke can't even sit down and grieve.
Yeah.
Like Leia's like, hey, I want to grieve like my whole planet too.
Right.
On top of your aunt and uncle and the old man Bit, who I actually had more adventures with him than you did.
Right.
But, you saw how excited she got when she's like, Ben Kenobi!
Yeah, she like ran out of there. She's like, let's go. I'm excited to see him.
So, but...
Yeah, honestly, that is something that has always bothered me since I was a kid, is her having lost her whole planet and her family and having to comfort Luke about losing Ben. And I'm like, bro. Like...
Yeah, but to be fair, like, she, like, knew these were the risks. Like, she knew about, like, the rebellion, the struggle against the Empire. Like, she's seen, like, people die before. Like, Luke, like, just got here to all this. He was like, I was bored on the farm yesterday, so...
Yeah, I'm just saying, one, Leia is stronger than Luke.
Yes.
And two, they gave her a better home opportunity for growing in that environment and becoming a rebel. Like, she has literally been raised her whole life with a rebel leader and been working. Yeah,
she's like one of the founders of the Rebel Alliance raised her, whereas Luke was raised by a guy who was told like keep this baby safe.
And that is what's crazy to me, is that they're like, Luke is the chosen one. I'm like, y'all have literally been putting so much effort into Leia except for the Force part. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And it's funny. I mean, it ends up working. It ends up being their yin and yang kind of thing.
Yeah, that's like Yoda and Obi-Wan. They're like, she's the backup plan.
I hate that. They should have both been plan one. Well,
that's what I'm saying. Just send both of them.
Yeah. Like, they work together better than they work separately. And like, they have different strengths and different weaknesses, right? So it's like, obviously, like, it does seem like Luke has more of a natural ability with the Force. But I think that's mostly because he's just more open to it, because this is the first thing he's had. Whereas Leia has had, like...
She's had to learn a lot of stuff.
She just had to learn a lot of stuff already.
She had to become a senator at age 19, which was already nuts.
And she was a junior senator before that. So, yeah, I don't know. This is like a classic example to me of like women having to do so much more than their male counterpart.
Well, you would know
more
about...
to get the same amount of like, if not less, what am I trying to say?
Recognition or credit? Yeah. I mean, you would know more about that than me, so...
Yeah, but I'm impressed by, Leia a lot in this, and also, like, I think in this one, Luke is pretty insufferable in some of the scenes, but I know he gets better.
I feel like he grows out a whiny teenager pretty quick. Like, after he sees, like, his aunt and uncle turned into skeleton, like, he's still, like, a little whiny, but I'm like, can you believe this is, like, all they gave me for my speeder? Like,
yeah.
I thought it'd be worth more, but, like, other than that, like, he's really not that bad.
He complains about the Millennium Falcon.
Yeah, but I don't know. I feel like he's not annoying.
Yeah, he gets better. I agree. But it is funny, like, seeing the two of them,
But it's a really cool escape sequence, and it is very exciting. The John Williams music is so good when they get on those turret guns. Like, it's easy to forget how good it is because everyone's watched this movie so many times. But just like listen to the music from this battle when they're sitting in like those 4 cannon guns shooting the TIE fighters. The music is so fucking good, and like like Han Solo is like all impressed, but he's like, yeah, we got him on. And then Leia was like, oh, they had to have let us go on purpose. How else do you explain like the ease of our escape? He's like, easy? You call that easy?
She's like, easy enough. God damn, like y'all didn't escape Scarif like I did.
There's some good moments in there where Han is like, she'll hold together, and then when he's like under his breath saying, "You hear me, baby, hold together." Like, but it was like George Lucas being like, yeah, like guys would talk to their spaceships the same way like guys I know talk to their cars.
Yeah, that works. That does make it more realistic.
Like no one else had thought about making a space movie like that in 1977.
Yeah,
like you needed this weirdo George Lucas to figure all that out. This guy who was like, was like, like old Flash Gordon from the 30s, and then Akira Kurosawa Japanese movies, and a guy talking about his hot rod, and like, it'll all make sense. Just let me make the movie. It'll make sense to you if you let my wife edit it.
The other thing I wanted to bring up is when they're in the turrets, shooting down the TIEs. I always will think of in The Force Awakens when John Boyega gets into those and he's like, whoa, and I actually think that makes this so much better because like I know now that it's difficult. Does that make sense? Like, before when I was a kid, I was like, oh, they just get in there and shoot things.
Well,
and like,
it's harder then when, like, the gun gets stuck because it's, like, old and ran down.
But, like, when he sits in that chair and it, like, all bounces and stuff and, like, it's like, whoa, like, how do I hold on to all this? Like, that, like, changed my perspective of it being easy. And, does that make sense?
We saw Woody Harrelson get in that thing, too.
Oh, yeah, and he also was like, my thumbs. Like, everyone else that's gotten in. Everyone else has been in these, like, on these guns have, like, had a terrible experience.
You get, like, the Jar Jar 3PO moment in the battle, when he's, like, when he gets tangled up in the wires or whatever, he's like, oh, I'm melting, this is all your fault.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was all just I don't know, it was a trick. They weren't really trying to shoot him down. They only sent like a few. These guys in the TIE fighters are like, why are we the only ones out here? Like, why isn't Tarkin send more than just like the 6 of us?
Yeah.
Jesus, like they shot down 4. There's only 2 of us. Oh no, you're gone. Like, oh fuck, I'm on fire. Ah!
Yeah.
It's like, why would they go out there? I guess they were thinking like, I guess Tarkin is maybe gonna send some more support any moment. But yeah, they get tracked to Yavin, so we see the Yavin base. It's fun seeing it after watching Rebels and Andor and Rogue One. Like we've spent some time here at this location. It's kind of sad they have to give it up now and go live in the cold on Hoth.
It's also like crazy how long it took them to build Yavin. Like, it took Rebels so long for them to find a base.
And then as soon as the Empire finds out about it, they have to give it up. Yeah,
that sucks.
But it's good that they had that place, kind of like incubate their movement, their rebellion, and lay the groundwork, figure out the logistics and stuff. You notice that all the leadership is gone. Like, as soon as, like, Leia was, like, coming, like, saying, like, the Death Star is right behind us. It's like, Mon Mothma got out of there. Like, all those senators that were arguing, they're all gone. Dudana has to stay behind to command this Battle of Yavin. So we see Dudana. He doesn't have his Irish accent that he had in Rogue One, but that's okay. He's sometimes Irish, sometimes not.
Just like Leia. Sometimes Imperial accent, sometimes not.
But we get the PowerPoint presentation. It's like, okay, go down this trench, shoot here, and thanks to Galen Erso, this thing will blow up. May the Force be with you. We were saying, like, I think there's 3 Y-Wings we see in battle, and yeah, maybe there's more than that. And maybe in the special edition, they CGI in some more Y-Wings. There's only one that leaves this battle, though. We're down to the last Y-Wing.
Yeah, it's like an endangered
I
ship.
think you see more in Return of the Jedi. There's multiple Y-Wings though, so there's others out there somewhere. But Luke and Wedge, they're Red 2 and Red 5. They're like the only 2 of the Red Squadron that survive. They end up forming Rogue Squadron in the next movie. Wedge is a Rogue Leader in Empire and in Return of the Jedi. So they named their new squadron after Rogue One. And they probably had a conversation after this movie, like, Wedge and Luke, they're like, Wedge is probably like, Luke, let me tell you about the Rogue One crew. Like, they're the only reason we were able to blow up the Death Star. And then they're like, oh yeah, let's name our new fighter squadron after them.
Yeah.
But it's with that moment on Yavin, you know, and I love like Luke and Han, you know, when they're like arriving, and Han he has like that moment with Leia where he's talking about like getting paid, and she's tells Luke, your friend is quite a mercenary. I wonder if he cares about anything or anyone, you know, and Luke is like, well, I care. Like, Luke is like, I want to be this cool revolutionary, you know? Like, I want to, like, they just killed my aunt and uncle. Like, I'm in it to win it, you know? I want to be devoted to that. I don't have anything else. Like, this is all I wanted to begin with, honestly, like, to get me off the farm. But now, like, you know, it's more than just being this bored kid. I'm like seriously devoted to this cause now. And then, but Han is like, I don't know, kid. You think a princess and a guy like me? And Luke, he's like a little, he's weird. He doesn't know that's his sister, so we can forgive it. But he's just like, no. And then, like, I love that, like, Han, like, he has, like, that, like, kind of pissed off reaction. But then, like, he kind of, like, smiles at it. Like, he likes Luke. He's like, that was, like, good timing. I just love, that's such, like, a cool, genuine moment, you know?
Yeah.
And then later, when Luke gets his money, when Han gets his money and, you know, saying goodbye to Luke, like, you know, he still wants to say good, like, they've bonded enough that, like, you know, like, man, I like the old man. I didn't want to watch him die like that. You know, like, he needed to say goodbye to him. And when he says, may the Force be with you, it's like, Han, like, just Harrison Ford was able to play that with such sincerity. Like, you just in one line delivery and in one close-up, he was able to convey with his voice and his face, like, I know I was joking around about this shit earlier, but, like, I really mean this. May the Force be with you.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what, like, started his turn. Yeah, and then, like, right after that, you know, Chewie says something, he's like, I know what I'm doing. Yeah. It's probably Chewie being like, don't joke around about the Force. I've seen some shit, man.
My headcanon, too, is that once they leave Yavin 4 with their bounty or whatever, Chewie is just bitching at Han the whole time. He's like, you fucking asshole. You're going to let them go to battle all by themselves. Yeah. Don't you love those two little kids? Aren't they so cute? They just lost their Obi-Wan Kenobi guy. And now they're going to be blown up by that big-ass Death Star. You're going to let them get blown up? And I think Han's like, okay. You wore me down.
It is honestly, like, one of my favorite moments of all movies ever. Like, any movie I've ever watched. But, like, Han coming in to help Luke at the end. And I think even more so now. I think this is enhanced with Andor and Rogue One. But it's something that Taylor and I talk about all the time. But, you know, like, Jen Erso's kind of rallying speech in Rogue One, where she says, like, we're going to take every attempt. You know, we're going to
take this step and then the next step until we
got to get the ship down to Scarif, and then we got to, like, take the beach, and then we got to get the plans, and then we got to get the plans transmitted, and then, you know, so then someone's going to have to, like, find a weakness in the plans, and then someone's going to have to, like, fly an X-wing to go bomb some shit. You know, it's like, and, like, all these people who have, like, pivotal roles in this process, like, so many of them are dead now. Yeah. You know, like starting with, I guess it starts with Lonnie, right? Lonnie Young, the ISB supervisor.
The first Death Star.
Yeah, he was
that we know of.
He was the first rebel hero to die taking down the Death Star.
Or
wasn't his choice.
Would you say Lyra or so, because she was trying to kill them when they were taking Galen?
Yeah, I guess. I don't. But that wasn't part of, like, this process here.
Yeah.
I mean, we can say that she still contributed, though. Like, I mean, like, they needed
honorable mention.
Jen Erso. Like, if Jen Erso wasn't here, it would have been Lyra. If you would have just, like, made that shot on Krennic, like,
she did hit him, but it wasn't fatal.
Yeah, you should have hit him in the face. I mean, I'm sure that's where you were aiming.
She got shot.
You got close. Yeah. Like, I'm not knocking her for trying, but, you know, we in this battle, we talked about this a minute ago, but just saying, like, how difficult it is to pull off this shot, and, like, you know, luckily they were able to get, like, this Force-sensitive pilot in one of these X-Wings, just barely got to the rebellion. This 19-year-old picked up off of the farm, just like, hey, Red 5 ate it in Rogue One. Let's plug in the new Red 5 right here.
Uniform. Glad it fits you.
Yeah.
I was thinking that was, like, really weird that they, like, immediately put him in a ship. Like, this kid who's never flown off world.
Well,
Like, he's literally just been a speeder, like, racer,
everyone
whatever.
was talking shit about how good of a pilot he is. It's like, hey, we need every pilot we got.
I guess they were desperate.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's like we got to blow this thing up before it blows us up. So if you can drive an X-wing, we're putting you in an X-wing.
Yeah.
So,
all right. He was like, yeah, I can do it.
But the editing and the music does such a good job. Like, it feels so hopeless when Luke is making his attack run and he's lost Biggs. Wedge can't help out anymore. Wedge had to pull out. And Vader is like, oh, the Force is strong with this one. Mm-hmm. And like he's like, Vader, there's some weird shit going on in the cockpit of that X-wing in front of me. Also cool to see, they make a big deal about Anakin being a great pilot, so it's cool to see Vader doing cool piloting stuff. Mm-hmm. Just taking out these fighters left and right with and he looks cool just cruising around his custom TIE fighter that's different from everyone else's. But he's got like an escort on both sides. But yeah, like that moment that Han comes, like Han was like the last one they needed. Like all these people, like this is like this massive effort to take down this Death Star. It started with Lonnie, and then you passed on to Luthen, and then and he died, and Clea had to play a big role though in getting the info to Cassian and then getting it to the rest of the rebels, like. And then sending getting the plans, and then we saw Vader chasing down the plans on Radiss's ship in Rogue One, and then getting the plans to Leia, then Leia getting them to R2, and then R2 getting to Tatooine, getting to Obi-Wan Kenobi, and then getting
to Luke,
back
to Han.
Yeah, getting back to the Yavin base finally. Like all these people they picked up along the way.
Yeah.
And like Han was like the last. He was like that last push. He's like the straw that broke the camel's back. Yeah. He's the straw that broke Tarkin and the Death Star.
Yeah, that actually cracked me up whenever Tarkin was like, or he was asked to be evacuated. Like one of his officers comes up and he's like, "It's time to evacuate." And he's like, "Hell no, I'm not leaving."
In our moment of triumph.
Yeah, he was like, "We're gonna win." Like he's like, "You don't know how long I've been waiting to get my hands and be in control of this goddamn thing that's been a pain in my ass for 22 years." To me,
he shows more vulnerability when it's just him and Vader. That when he tells Vader, he's like, "I'm taking an awful big risk here, Vader. This had better work."
Yeah.
Like letting Leia take the plans back to the base.
Yeah.
I mean, like they did find the base,
yeah.
But then the base found them. But yeah, it's just it's such a I don't know. I just feel like so many people had like struggled and died for this, and like it's all worth and it came so close to Tarkin almost won. He's like seconds away.
Yeah.
There's the joke that he could have just because the base is on a moon of Yavin.
Yeah.
He could have just blown up the big gas giant Yavin. I don't know. Can you shoot the Death? You probably shoot the Death Star laser through that. Into the moon,
Apparently
maybe?
not. They didn't say that.
But he was like, "Oh, I'll just orbit the planet." It's like, I guess the Death Star goes really slow after it comes out of hyperspace. But I mean, why would it need to be in a hurry,
Yeah, yeah.
It's not like someone designed a critical weakness that would make it explode built into it.
It almost feels a little bit like Jaws. I know John Williams did the music for that, but it has that, dun-dun, dun-dun, as it's coming around. It's not that theme, obviously, but it has that same, ominous...
Yeah, it's like it's coming every second. It's the thing that's going to blow you up is getting closer and closer.
Yeah, it's intense.
Yeah, and you can't run away from it anymore. You're gonna have to you're backed. The rebellion is backed up against the corner, and if they're going to survive, they're going to have to punch back and fight back and win. Yeah. And they do, but they damn near didn't. They came really close to if Saul Guerrera and Luthen and Jyn Erso and Cassian had all died for this, and the rebels not be able to pull it off.
And technically, everyone on Alderaan
also
died
a
for
whole
this.
fucking planet. Yeah.
Yeah, insane.
So, but yeah, so this is the first, I guess, big public, this is a rallying cry to the rest of the gal. I guess Mon Mothma already did the rallying cry, but this was coming back 2 years later and being see, we can actually win. They're not invincible. We can take them down. We're going to take them down.
Before we wrap up, I just want to make two more comments about the political commentary in this. Is Palpatine dismantled the council, the Senate.
Right, the
We
Senate
should
is
mention
absolved.
that.
Yeah.
That is gone. So now it's full empire. There's no democracy, no bureaucracy, whatever they say.
Yeah, it's when Hitler went to totalitarian, and he's like, okay, I'm making like all the decisions for the government now. There's nothing else, just me.
And then the other one is, do we think everyone learns that Alderaan was blown up by the Death Star?
Yeah.
And, like, I just feel like that's going to be, like, an insane news break.
Right.
And a lot of people aren't going to be able to believe that. Because, like, one, they already blew up the Death Star. So it's like, where's the proof that that station/weapon even existed anymore, you know? So I'm wondering, I never followed, like, all the politics very much in the background. So I'm curious how that's handled.
Yeah, I think the in-universe explanation is that it just becomes public knowledge that, yeah, it was a Death Star. It destroyed Alderaan, and, like, Palpatine just got rid of the Senate, and so, like, this kind of, like, does turn, like, everyone against him.
Yeah, final.
But, yeah, I mean, like, his plan was, like, well, I have my planet blower upper now,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna absolve the Senate and just do whatever the fuck I want. And if anyone bitches about it, we'll just
blow up their planet.
We'll roll up on your planet with the Death Star and blow it the fuck up. Like, this is like Lothal was probably gonna get blowed up next after Yavin.
We talked about Tarkin having a planet hit
Yeah,
list.
yeah. So yeah, it was gonna be Tarkin and Annie rolling around blowing up everyone they didn't like. Like, that was the plan here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, like, be like, thanks a lot, Krennic, you stupid jackass. We got your Death Star. Have fun being dead. But yeah, so I'm very excited to go into The Empire Strikes Back. So
we'll be back in a couple hours for the next one.
We will wrap it up for now, but we'll be back in like, I don't know, 2 or 3 hours. We'll be live again, so come back for that. But in the meantime, remember, the Empire is for bootlickers. Be a rebel, and may the Force be with you.